Back to another video for the cloud series. This is actually going to be the last video for the cloud series. I'm going to be doing some cloud networking troubleshooting concepts. So my first exercise, I'm going to be doing two. First exercise is going to be troubleshooting common network configuration issues, because typically when working with in cloud networking and cloud environments, particularly, there are many considerations for like both cloud security and networking professionals to consider to ensure proper configuration management of an internal network to ensure proper communication and day-to-day functionality, of course, right? So, I mean, there's plenty of things you got to think about, when it comes to routing, firewalls, segmentation, zero trust, load balancing, just a plethora of different things that, you just have to consider when you're troubleshooting, networking, whether that's for, DNS records or your VLAN or quality of service, your NTUs, things of that nature. So what I'm going to do is actually configure an NTP client to synchronize time with an NTP server using control panel. At least that's my first task. So let's swivel on over to this machine here. Should be up and running. Here, let's give it a moment. Latency looks like it's not doing too well at the moment, but we'll make it work. So now that we're logged in, we're going to head over to the control panel. So we're going to make just a quick change here. So we're going to take a look at the clock and region, date and time, of course. We're going to look at internet time. I'm going to change some settings, right? I'm going to change this to time.nist.gov, right? I'm going to change all of that. I'm actually going to close all of that. So I can now open up our command prompts. Let's see. We're going to do a few things there. So query this. All right, perfect. So from the output, we can see that the time server has been updated. So that's good to see. So now this is going to allow me to move on to my my next exercise, which is going to be particularly about network troubleshooting tools, because for both on-premise and cloud environments, right, there are a multitude of tools available for cloud security and networking administrators, right, and to employ in order to check different aspects of and troubleshoot networking issues, right? So what I'm going to do is investigate common networking troubleshooting tools and concepts. And I'm actually going to start it off with using a host discovery using Linux commands, actually, let me describe what a host discovery is really. It's, should tally this up for me. It's pretty much an information gathering technique, and it's carried out at the beginning of network reconnaissance. And it's carried out using like different network assessment tools like Nmap. It's actually what I'm going to use in just a second, netstat traceroute. All right, and what I'm going to do is actually enter in the correct password so I can log in. Okay. All right, so now that I'm logged in, I'm going to open up a terminal here. And I'm going to enter my first command. Now the IP address, the subnet mask, and additional network information can be seen from the output. Now this gathered information can be used to gather more information about the network. So what I'm going to do now is this here. Right. So now after gathering some network information, so what I'm doing is using the Nmap tool to scan the network for hosts. Now, as we're seeing right in real time, well, recorded for you guys, but after the command has been executed, there's different hosts with their IP addresses that you're going to see populate here in just a moment, and OSs that are going to be displayed, as you can see, just populated. Now, additional information can also be gathered like for example, like the open ports on the discovered host. And what I'm going to do now is actually take a look into practice labs here also. Okay. All right, perfect. So now that I gather a bit more information, I'll see that you can see the IP for the practice lab has been displayed also. And I'm going to use some information gathering tools. And this information gathering, right, it could be on different components of the network. It's essential to ensure the security of it, right? Now, different types of information gathering tools are available for cyber professionals, network engineer professionals to gather crucial information about the network, right? So what I'm going to do now is get different information gathering tools to be used to better understand how to gather information about devices on the network. So let's start here. Let's right click here. Okay. Perfect. All right, so what I did was, as far as this command, now it displays what ARP is, the address resolution protocol table of the device. From the command's output, the IP and the MAC address of the device that this device has communicating can be seen now. So let's swivel back over to Kali, right? So I'm going to do okay, so while it's loading here, it looks like a little bit frozen. So the dnCnum command, right, is used to gather even more information about an organization's DNS. Now, after executing the command, right, you can see the DNS server for practicelabs.com. That domain could be seen as, let's see, it looks like DCO1, right, with the associated IP address, right? So now I'm just going to clear everything out. All right, just don't like a lot of things. So I'm just going to address resolution protocol C4. Right. All right, perfect. So now this command is now used. I'm using it to resolve a MAC address from an IP address, and the MAC address of the DNS server from the practicelabs.com domain. I'll be able to see that here. And actually, going to do, now that I've done that, I'm actually going to do now, lastly, some packet capture and replay. So I'm going to actually use Wireshark to capture some packets to capture and analyze some traffic generated on the network. So I'm actually going to use Kali to do that. So let's actually open up Wireshark. Have it on multiple devices. So ETH0, that's fine. All right, perfect. So let's swing back over to 110 and then let's open up PowerShell. That's open 2 minutes. It's like close these out. Perfect. Now let's have the pane. Perfect. All right, so let's reconnect to Kali. So now we can see that the Wireshark app should be capturing some network traffic once it unfreezes. Should capture, yep, there it is. Looks like it captured some traffic that was generated by the Win10 device. And now I'm going to close this out. it looks like everything is freezing up. Yeah, we're going to stop and quit without saving. Just wanted to showcase that it did capture the packets as far as everything that was being generated on Win 10. And this also brings us to the end of the video and unfortunately the end of the cloud series, at least for the general cloud. The next time I talk about cloud in a further series is definitely going to be in particular to Microsoft Azure, multiple videos on those, and a ton of videos of doing different projects and different exercises with Amazon Web Service as well. But for a brief recap of this video in particular, went over cloud networking troubleshooting concepts, right? We troubleshooted some common network configuration issues and some network troubleshooting issues as well, using a couple different tools, really mostly Wireshark, some PowerShell. And this is the end of the video. Until the next series, stay curious, stay secure.